This is really
Good evening. Today is 4 days before Thanksgiving. And so the title and the purpose of this prayer summit tonight is gratitude. So I'm going to begin with an opening treatment. We call prayer treatment because we treat to know that what we desire is possible because we know how to do it. And we always get results. We know they're provable by demonstration. When our treatments demonstrate, we know it worked. So if you will, let's come together. And I always like to go right straight to the top and affirm and know there is a power in the universe for good. This power is made everything, is everything, and the potential for everything is right there. Everything that has been, is, and ever will be comes out of this loving potential energy, and I call it God. Good on demand. And so in this season of gratitude, we open ourselves up to a new demonstration because from this God energy, we have gotten the gift of choice. So we are in the place of choice. And when we choose and affirm it, whatever we choose and affirm begins to form to the level that we believe it is possible. And it is a choice to believe. So tonight, let us all make a choice to believe in the ultimate gratitude. For gratitude invokes the law of increase. Anything we are grateful for demonstrates. This is the wonder of wonders to me, because we have a life of self-determination. And in the gratitude, we draw to us everything pleasant that we wish to experience. So we have an opportunity right now to choose individually how this is going to express. And I invite you in this period of time, for just a minute, start with a feeling of how you want to feel in gratitude. For it is the feeling that makes all this possible. When you feel it, it is. I release this treatment unto the universe with this great gratitude, knowing that it comes back enriched and multiplied. And together we say, and so it is.
so it is.
So I'm going to start tonight with history. I guess I start thinking about my early experience of Thanksgiving. And I'm sure most of us our age have made a pilgrim hat or a little thing for the thing and a little hat for our head. As they said to us in Jamestown in the beginning, when our settlers came from across the pond, England, they came to Jamestown and things were not good that year. They didn't know how to farm. They didn't know what they had gotten into. And what's more, it's kind of said, at least I remember, that they thought they had gotten to India. So therefore, the people that they met were Indians. We now no longer believe that. We know now that they are Native Americans. And that's the proper name for them because they were here first. And yet, how generous were they to help them for a year? to grow crops, put your fish with your corn. All of those things had a place in my mind, and they're still there. They were cooperating for greater good. And most of them had died from diseases that they had no idea that they were getting into. Has anybody ever been in that position? You do something, ooh, are you sorry you did it? You didn't expect it was going to be this way. My son used to say, Mom, I didn't mean it should be this way. And that's sometimes what happens. So they came together, and the Native Americans brought what they had left, and the English people brought what they had left. And they got together to be thankful that they were alive, because their still houses were not real warm. The tents were not real good, although they knew how to keep themselves warm. And disease was still there. And so we take this time, because our government has set this time for us, to be thankful. And we can be thankful anytime. We can use our gratitude anytime. And interestingly enough, it is a fact that once upon a time, until 1941, Thanksgiving was always celebrated on November the 20th, I believe it, 20th or 21st. And then in 1941, the president, whom I cannot remember, designated that Thanksgiving was going to be celebrated on the fourth Thursday of every month. Now, the reason I know that is because that's the year I was born. And my mother cooked 2 Thanksgiving dinners that year. One when my family came from Kalamazoo and she cooked for them, and one she cooked for our family on the Thursday, and then she went to the hospital and had me that night. So it's easy for Rita me to remember that story. So what is this gratitude business about? We all have stories. We all have things that we remember. And so I'm going to invite Aggie, one of our practitioner group, to take about 5 minutes and unmute herself, or Bob, you need to unmute her. And she's going to share a story for Thanksgiving.
Where is she?
Aggie, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you, Sandra. That was that's powerful. Gratitude, we sometimes, forget about it. At least I do. But how important it is and how powerful it is. So I was thinking, there's so many things to be grateful for, especially when you reach a certain age. You've lived many years and many wonderful things have happened. And it was hard to bring it down to something that I would like to share, because we don't want to just talk in generalities. So I'm going to share a personal story, but I'm just going to start and say, I am thankful this evening, I think it's November 20th, 2023, for my life, for being alive and healthy. And the reason I'm emphasizing that is when you hear, in the last, I don't know how many years, but it doesn't matter. I've had 2 bouts with breast cancer. And today I am cancer-free. I just saw my doctor last week, and he doesn't even want to see me that much. I'm going to see a nurse practitioner. So that I'm going to get back to that. But I really feel that I'm here now today, celebrating my life, sharing my life joyfully because of this teaching. I don't think, and Joe and I talked about this today. We were in a car, we had a lunch with a friend. And so this teaching, this beautiful, powerful teaching, where I attended services for many years. I took classes, and then I decided to become a spiritual practitioner, which was many years of classes, which I love taking. But what is all this, because it was interesting to do it, and it was intellectually stimulating, but what it has allowed me to do is to move through challenging situations in my life with faith and not fear, like the cancer. Because I learned, and I did not learn this in the traditional churches. people may disagree with me, but I did not, that I am a spiritual being and that I live in a universe, in a world where there are spiritual laws. And just like there's physical laws, there are spiritual laws. So now I've learned what those spiritual laws are. And of course, one of them, of course, is this gratitude. The more you're grateful for, the more good you bring towards you. So when challenges confront me, I know, and I really know this in a deep and profound way, that there is an invisible presence that goes before me, that prepares the way, and that is there for me, always there for me. So now I'd like to share the story briefly. So 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer for the second time. And the prognosis was good because it was stage 1. So, but I still needed surgery. And there was some really post-operative procedures that I had to follow at home. And I was really concerned about them. I really felt, and my husband's older than me, and he was like, "How are we going to do this?" You know, it was so, all right. So there's the situation. Well, I called a cousin of mine who I'm close to, and she's younger than me. And I told her name is Camille, what was happening. So she didn't, I remember the phone call. She didn't hesitate. She says, "Oh, don't worry. She lives down south. I'll come and stay with you. I'll be there for the surgery, and I'll stay through the whole post-operative part. Whatever you need me for, I'll stay as long as you need me." So Camille showed up day before, stayed over, was with me when I went into surgery, and stayed, I think it was for at least 10 days. So everything was good. So the best part of this story, well, the whole part is best, really, but is that Camille is a retired nurse. So now I had a nurse who knew what she was doing with the tube and the thing, whatever. I won't go into that. But even better than that, or as good as that, she is a great cook. So she'd be making these delicious dishes every night. And she's funny and just a wonderful person. And so throughout this recovery period, I was crying. It was a loss. But I felt so safe and so comforted her by her presence. And I would cry, we would laugh, we would eat, we would cry, we would laugh. And of course, throughout the whole thing, we ate delicious Italian food. And I mean, delicious. Now, I was so grateful, obviously, for her presence, her love, her concern. But then the more I thought about it, I thought, well, this is even more interesting. Her father and my father were brothers. My father, Al, her brother, Pete. My father was one of the oldest. Her father was the youngest. And Pete was one of these, he just took care of everybody in the family. And he was one of these people that could fix anything. You could call on Uncle Pete, he would be there. So I was thinking of that. And he literally, as a child, they lived in Staten Island, I lived in Brooklyn. I remember my father calling him all the time because that's when you had televisions that you could fix, not replace. Pete would come from Staten Island, fix the television. Pete would come fix the refrigerator. Pete would come fix the anything we needed. And he did this with other members of the family. But they're both gone. Pete just a couple of years ago, and my father more than that. And I thought of them. I said, see, now this is generational. Now she is helping me, just like her father helped my father. And of course, my father reciprocated. So I really felt this generational love coming. And this is how important every time someone loves us and cares about us, and we care and love about someone, we don't know what effect it has. This is like years later now, Camilla's showing up on my doorstep, helping me. So I really felt that they were, both of them, Pete and Al, my father and my uncle, and I love my uncle. I mean, I was close to him too, were looking down on us and kind of guiding us through this. And my recovery was quick, really was, and pain-free, because she knew, oh, take this, don't worry, you could take Tylenol, you don't have to take this. So that was a very powerful experience for me, obviously, in many ways. And I am so grateful for that, for her presence. And we're still, in fact, she's coming for my birthday next month. And guess what she's doing? For my birthday, I'll come, with her husband, and I'll cook. We don't have to go out. I like to cook. So she's gonna still cooking, 3 years later, she said, so this is my story, and I'm so happy to share it. But it has, as I said, this goes back to my father's generation, and now it's showing up now. So every loving act we do, we don't know what beautiful effect it can have. And this is my gratitude that I've had these loving people in my life, and I continue to have loving people in my life. That to me is what I'm most thankful for. And I was happy to share it with all of you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aggie. It was absolutely beautiful
Thank you.
and very, very heartfelt.
Yeah, well, that's where it came from.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Sandy.
Okay,
Okay.
Joe, would you like to share next? She needs to be, okay, there you go.
Okay, yes, that was nice to hear. I happen to have met Camille, and she is a lovely person, as is Aggie. And it was nice hearing about Sandra, being reminded how you were Thanksgiving baby. Well, I have a little thing to say about gratitude. A very, very long time ago, I heard that a smile is just a frown. No, wait a minute. A frown. A frown is a smile turned upside down. I almost had that wrong. A frown is a smile turned upside down. Okay. Well, I'm picturing the meme with the frowny face meme. Now, for the first 25 years of my life, I could represent it with a frowning meme. But even then, I was grateful. I am grateful now, and I was grateful then for the raw material that I had necessary to make changes. So I had alone time. I had a lot of alone time. And during that alone time, I became aware of my internal guidance system. And I was feeling connected with my soul through poetry and through music. I had curiosity about life and the desire to learn more. And also very grateful that I had teachers who acted as my personal angels. They assured me that there was a purpose in life. So I had a lot to be grateful for, even when the frowny face was there. Because that led me to the study of science of mind and the lifelong practice of it. So now the next, I have to say 53 years of my life, it's been represented by the other meme, the smiling meme. You've seen those. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for what I've included these 53 years. I have a spouse who truly loves me as we walk along together on the pathway of life. I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful that I have learned to trust my internal guidance system, that one that I touched base with years ago. I'm grateful that I have loving companions and friends, and that includes my Science of Mind family here. And I appreciate and take care of my body on a daily basis, and my mind. I enjoy good physical and emotional health. I'm so full of gratitude for that. I'm grateful for my financial abundance and my peace, my joy, and my love that I have. I am so grateful to be able to express these things at my age. What I'm also grateful for is what I've eliminated. That was what I have in my life, but what I eliminated, I no longer hang out with people who need to put others down, especially if those others are me. Okay, that is gone. I'm grateful I got rid of that. I'm grateful that I don't hold grudges for those who I perceive have offended me. That's a big one. And I'm also grateful that I don't have feelings of being a victim. Some people walk around with feelings of victimhood, and that really pulls everybody. So I'm grateful that I don't have that. But I also look forward in the future. And I look forward with gratitude now that in the future, I want to make a better world for others. And I also want to share my joy and my smile, the smiley face, more. So I just want to say that since my first 25 years, actually nothing new has been added to that frowny meme to make it smile. Nothing new. Nothing new. The only thing that changed completely was my perspective. You see, and for that past 53 years, I'm grateful that my perspective has made all the difference. Made the difference between that frowning meme and the smiley meme. So I also want to say, for those who may be tuning in on YouTube or others, I want to just point out that the holidays, we are in this Thanksgiving holiday, and then of course there's the Christmas season after that, or whatever holiday you observe. But there's many holidays right now. The next 2 months, holiday, and they can be very stressful for so many people. I know there were times that I can remember feeling very alone and isolated during the holidays. And I just want to tell you that if you have any difficulty coping with the ups and downs of this season, your practitioners are here for you. And just reach out to us, please. And I wish each and every one of you a really happy, peaceful, and loving Thanksgiving season. And so, namaste.
Thank you so much, Jim. And now I'm going to ask our ministers, our co-ministers, Bob and Judith. Would you please share with us now?
I'd be glad to. Let's see, I've got to make sure I'm not disappearing.
You're good.
So, what I'm thinking of today is how grateful I am for my husband, Bob. We've been married 36 years now, and I've never not been grateful for him, really. But it's so wonderful to have a partner who is your best friend. And, I wanted from the time I got into this teaching, I wanted to share it. I wanted to teach others. I wanted to be a minister. But I really thought I needed someone who would do ministry with me. First of all, it was all I saw with my teachers. All the teachers I had were married couples. And that made sense to me because they spent so many hours doing ministry, teaching classes at night and whatnot, that I thought, yeah, that would probably be very important, or your spouse is going to be thinking, what are you doing and being out all the time at night? And so I wasn't finding that. I wasn't. First of all, I was from a big church in Fort Lauderdale, but it wasn't full of good prospects. So I just I kind of gave up really about finding someone that really believed the same thing I did, because there weren't that many and 36 years ago. So when I met Bob, we were both psychotherapists, and we met together. A woman was fulfilling her training by offering a lower cost, which was nice for us, of radix training, which we did on Sunday afternoons. And that's where I met Bob, and we were doing all these unusual exercises, which were actually helped me with some of my anger about my first marriage and all of that. And we became friends with that. And I found out his beliefs were, he was a student of Unity. He had been attending a Unity church before he recently came down to Fort Lauderdale. So here I found somebody with the same teaching. And then it turns out that he was a good friend. We became friends. And I thought, gee, I really like him. I like the way he treats me, which was like I was really an interesting person to listen to. And, not that, well, I must say I hadn't experienced much of that when it came to talking about metaphysics or spirituality. And so, but he did, and he knew more than I did about some of the spirituality things. And so it was really exciting for me to think, oh my gosh, I gave up. I had given up on finding someone that I might want to marry. And as a matter of fact, I hadn't planned to ever marry again. And so what I'm so grateful for is that worked out. It worked out that I continued to enjoy being with him. He stimulates my conversation. I stimulate his conversation, I hope. And we like doing the same things. We just enjoy spending time together. And so I've seen so little of that. I've seen that be so rare, really, especially when I was younger, that I'm really grateful for it. I am so grateful for this teaching. This teaching liberated me. And I know Jo wanted, when she says her went from an upside down smile to a real smile, I know that happened when she found this teaching, because it helps you examine your beliefs and to let go of the false ones. False ones like I'm not enough, or I'm not this enough, or I'm not that enough. And we find not only am I enough, but I am connected. I am one with, not even connected is even a bad word. I am one with all that is, or God. So how could I not be enough of anything? I am perfect just the way I am. And I can't tell you how many people that helps to just simply redefine who I am, and to know that there are laws that I can use to experience what I want to experience, to achieve what I want to achieve. And so I'm very pleased at this stage in my life to say, I have achieved what I wanted to do. There's still more things I want to do. I still have more things I want to do, but I achieved the main thing. I was able to become a minister. I was able to teach and share this teaching with people that it really made a difference to. And I'm thrilled with that. So your turn.
Judith's okay. I'm getting a telephone message in my ears here. 36 years ago, I met Judith, and that's the thing I'm the most grateful for, that I met her, that I loved looking at her, I loved listening to her, I loved being with her. And in that relationship piece, I'm a little bit like Jo, and that my relationship piece was upside down. And since it was upside down, I wasn't thinking it would ever be right side up. And when I saw Judith, it became right side up. And it's absolutely been amazing and marvelous. I love her to life. And really, in fact, I love her so much that I come home twice a day and let her out. Not far, because when you find somebody really good, you don't let them out that much, but she can go around the block. It's okay. The thing I'm most grateful for is Judith, but the second thing I'm the most grateful for is what she brought me, which wasn't just kindness and love. She brought me science of mind. I liked unity, and I liked unity, but it felt like a softer version of the Christianity that I'd left. And the versions of Christianity that I left, I had been a Lutheran, and there was so much about that I simply just couldn't manage. And when I went to Unity, it seemed, like I said, a softer version of it, and it was metaphysical and new thought, and I like that. But when I met Judith, I had never heard of Science of Mind, and it didn't take too long before not only did I love it, I became a minister. And I was planning on becoming a Unity minister before I met her. And I am so glad that process was interrupted. And what I discovered was something what I think far richer. And so I'm grateful for the teaching. I'm grateful for the relationship. And I'm grateful for what it's taught me, which is that no matter how difficult life is on any given day, I can change my mind about it. And when I change my mind about it, it changes. And for a long time, when I would see something, I would see it the way I saw it and believe it's the way it was, not the way it necessarily could be. And so having the ability to change your mind about the way life is when it doesn't feel good allows you to feel good a lot more often with a greater depth and with a greater love than I ever thought possible. I grew up in a family in which if the worst was going to happen, the worst would probably going to happen. You could anticipate it. And so I learned to be fearful. I learned to be on guard. I learned to be ready for the next worst thing that could happen. And being involved with the science of mind, I've learned to see the best, to look forward to the best, to connect with the best. And one of the things that Joe said that was really, really very powerful too for me is that being with somebody who doesn't make you wrong or put you down, but lifts you up, encourages and empowers you, brings out your best. That's what ministry does, but that's also what happens in a good relationship. And I'm fortunate to have that. So I'm very, very grateful for the life I'm living. I'm grateful for the things I have. I'm grateful for the things I've been able to let go of. And I'm grateful for the things that I let go of that taught me what I needed to know in order to be where I am now and have the life I'm living. I think that's it.
I think that's enough.
I think that is absolutely, I am just so proud of us, guys. I really am. Everybody who sees this, you have been given a wonderful gift by all of us tonight. And I'll share my story because it happens when you get involved in this teaching. Through unfortunate but fortunate circumstances, I came to this teaching in which I had said, if this is life, I don't want any more of it. And I was very fortunate to not only begin to learn about the teaching, but be invited to be an employee of it. And as everybody knows, I'm a bookaholic. And I was left for 3 months in the church, working for the church 12 hours a week in the bookstore. So I got an absolute, when my work was done, I could just drink in all of the stuff from these books. And I was just, talk about a frown turning upside down. My goodness gracious. My life totally did change. And I kept taking classes and taking classes and taking classes. And I got so cocky. I thought I knew it all. I was ready. Wasn't sure what I was ready for, but I was ready. So I was a part of the board. And at the board meeting, our minister said he wanted someone to do the Thanksgiving service. And being cocky, I said, oh, I'm going to do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. And then I got kind of cold feet. And I said, no, Gary and I'll do it. Okay, I'm going to bring along a honcho just in case, because he knew more than I knew. So came the time that I was supposed to be creating this talk, my 20 minutes of the talk for Thanksgiving. I started saying, well, okay, this is about Thanksgiving. Okay, what am I thankful for? Oh. So then I realized that my gratitude, my thankfulness had a few glitches in its get along. Because there wasn't anything that I hadn't had since I came to this lifetime that I missed. And so it was just, yeah, sure. I'm gratitude. I'm grateful. Wait a minute. And I thought, okay, this is all about feeling. This is all about feeling. What you feel, you can have. Feel with enthusiasm. So then I started thinking, okay, Well, I've always had food, I always had shelter, I always had transportation, I always had money. When don't I feel good? And the only thing I could come up with at that moment was, I hate being cold. I was miserable when I was cold. And when I got warm, that feeling of warmth, that was one heck of a feeling of love and protection, because it usually involved a blanket or something soft and cozy. And I understood my whole body was filled with this feeling of gratitude. And I went, oh, that's what it feels like. Now I can take that same feeling, and by my choice, I can apply that to parts of my life. Because then in feeling it, I can increase the depth of what I have and the breadth of what I have. It would blossom into even more than what I have had, because gratitude invokes the law of increase. And so Gary and I did one heck of a talk on Thanksgiving. And for one of the few times up to that time, I actually approved of myself, of what I had done. Because we don't appreciate ourselves enough, guys. We really don't. We're really, really great. We're God in action. We're God in form. And so we can claim that, we can be that. Now, saying that, I want to go back to another thing that Joe pointed out. There are times in this lifetime and people in this lifetime that get under our skin. And we have a tendency to buy into it. It's like we're dancing with the devil. I know there's no red guy with a pitchfork, but that's what it feels like. There seems to be, especially in this season, either Aunt Tilly or something has happened or things are not going well. You didn't win the lottery, whatever it is. Your turkey didn't quite turn out right. Somebody didn't like what you cooked. Who knows? So what do we do then? I was surprised that until Roseanne Barr's show, when she and Dan actually did a show in which the mother and father announced at the dinner table they were divorcing. The turkey got burned. The teenage daughter was not doing right and fighting with the younger kid. And the whole Thanksgiving that they had planned, so of course this is only an hour show or 30-minute show, but I was starting to go, yeah, there's some people that get that on Thanksgiving. So what are we to do for if we are involved in it, or if we know of someone, what is it we can do to make it better? That's one of my things. How can I make this better? By choosing to make it better. Well, how do you do that? Well, I don't know which year of the war it was, but they decided to stop it for the day. Can you imagine what would happen if you made a choice, no matter what was happening, that if God was peace, your peace. If God was joy, or if God is joy, your joy. If God is harmony, you are harmony. And I choose to be that today. Or we can choose for the whole season and get it rolling in the right direction. And by the way, if God is abundance, you're abundant too. Keep those zeros on the end of the ones and twos. And that's our opportunity for this, for the starting out, because really and truly starting out with gratitude invokes the law of increase. You already got it on a roll. And like I always say, you can't lose with the stuff we use. Start by making a statement of how you want the day to appear. Take a few minutes, get quiet. See the picture in your mind about how you want it to appear. By your loving presence of peace, love, joy, and harmony, you will be starting the gratitude of the law of increase. Does that mean that everybody at the table, would that mean that the mother and father wouldn't be getting a divorce? Maybe, but you can say, we can wait till tomorrow to do that, or next month, next year, or we can know in our minds, God is on the field, although it is invisible, and this is just something that's working out. And allow love and peace and joy and harmony to work it out while you enjoy right now. It is possible by your choice, by your acceptance of who you are, what you are, and who you are being right now. So let's go with the idea of Thanksgiving. And I'm going to ask if Brian or Linda or Marty want to share something. If you do, we are open to you sharing. Anybody want to choose? Raise your hand. Marty, you want to share? You want to unmute her, Bob, or can she unmute herself? There you go.
Hi, everybody. Just listening to everybody talk about their gratitude just brought up my sister and Brian, and I'm just so grateful to have them in my life. And Linda does this little amazing yoga, to set our intentions before we start our yoga practice. And everything that so when we're starting our practice, then we can set our intentions of what we want to do or how we want to feel or what we're going to try and accomplish that day. And it just feels like every day is just full, like Sunday when Bob or Judith or you were talking about not being able to sleep and how you could start out by laying down and when you're ready to go to sleep and just go through your gratitude list, and you wake up and you go through your gratitude list. And I have a girlfriend that I see occasionally, and every time I see her, I always open up my arms and I go, how are you? And she goes, grateful. And I just love that. And it's like, a lot of people would get put off by you saying that. And sometimes I feel a little trepid to even express that because it sounds like I'm just like tooting my own horn. But more than anything else, I think that just being grateful to be alive and to be here and to have this community and have these people that I surround myself with, that I'm so grateful, and learning how to detach from the people that maybe I find irritating, that I keep reaching out to, that I'm not getting any response, and try not to take things personal. So, I mean, I just learn something every day, and just putting it into practice and being consistent about it. And it's like you say, it's a practice. And I'm just very grateful to be alive and to be here and to be with my peeps. And I love y'all. That's it.
Thank you, Marty. I appreciate that. Linda or Brian, you want to share? Okay. I'm going to close then. I'm going to close with the treatment. I'm going to go back to the top. There is this power in the universe. We are made by it, from it, with it. And we get the opportunity to play. So we're going to choose to play with gratitude. And we're going to realize that this season, all of the symbols of the season, all of the symbols of our spiritual systems, all of it is for our pleasure if we choose that it is pleasurable. Notice the beauty of the season. Notice the abundance of the season, both changing hands and having it to change hands. Notice the stores that are putting out their very best in the decorations and the merchandise for our pleasure. Because if we didn't want it, they wouldn't have it. And so it's there for our pleasure. And know that we can open up and choose to see it as peace, love, joy, and harmony. And we can choose to share that with every single person we meet. We can set our attention for each day that it is better than the day before, but not as good as it's going to be tomorrow. We know that these truths must take form because we affirm them. And God always says, yes, my darlings. Yes, yes. So we allow it to demonstrate because we have chosen from our freedom to choose. So we choose our lives the way we desire to live them, and we invite others to come along with us if they so choose, or we invite them to leave if they choose that too, knowing that they're going to their good wherever it is. And we encompass it all as this great experiment on this plane of existence until later. I release this treatment because I know it's in the church of what's happening now. Today is where everything happens. We do this once again with a final gratitude of wahoo, here we come. It is done as we together say, and so it is. Have a good
Namaste.
night.